I've had experiences myself on the Australian Yahoo News forums. There are certain people that go there that will not debate any issues. They simply attack the messenger all the time. And this is a common ploy, folks. If someone is backed into a corner by evidence they are unable to refute, the first thing they do is they launch into a personal attack, and they try to turn the presentation of evidence into an argument and thereby shift attention away from the original content that was being presented. If they can shoot the messenger, if they can degrade it into a mudslinging match, then nothing ever gets anywhere. And there are certain people, they work very, very hard to do this, and there are certainly a lot of them on the news forums, so I wouldn't let that get you down, folks. You just got to keep hammering away at the facts, and if you produce enough facts in a concise and eloquent enough way, then people will surely listen to you in the end. You only got to say one thing that will cause a little penny to drop into someone's left brain, and once the cogs start turning in the left brain is a very analytical place, so once you get those wheels turning, people tend to want to find out answers. And once the wheels are turning, well, the answers become quite apparent. The answers regarding 9/11, regarding the fake war on terror, regarding the swine flu, regarding the oligarchy that runs the planet, regarding the Federal Reserve System, they all become very apparent to anybody who takes the time to investigate. It's just getting that penny to drop. There are many people who are simply in denial, who simply will not face facts at all. Usually these are people who tend to work very hard because they are very much in debt, because people are kept in debt on purpose, or there are other people who are very caught up in the material world and they really want to get as many possessions as possible, and they have this thing about money. You find that these people are some of the hardest nuts to crack, and it's very hard to try to alert people to the fact that everything that they thought was true about this world is actually false, because that's very hard for people to come to terms with, especially people who have devoted their life to the collection of trinkets in the hope that by gaining these trinkets they will achieve more social status. See, many people think that such things are actually the meaning of life, but it's not the meaning of life. It's simply a distraction. It's what people have been trained to do, because the gathering of trinkets and worrying about social status keeps people running around on the treadmill and paying taxes and being a useful pawn to the big machine very effectively. So looking at things around the world and seeing how this New World Order mechanism is being more and more put into place every day, what we find here in Australia is that Prime Minister Crud is pushing ahead with plans for a new Asia-Pacific bloc, which is what he calls it. Of course, it is the Asia-Pacific Union, the Asian Union that we were talking about last year that I mentioned in the big picture. Now, this is despite all the other leaders in the area being what is described as lukewarm on the issue. But the Australian government called in ambassadors last week in order to push the concept of an Asia-Pacific community, because the idea is, as I said, meeting resistance from regional leaders who are reluctant to attend any more summits on this issue. But regional governments have agreed to send high-level bureaucrats to a meeting in Sydney in December to debate the matter and to see how or if Mr. Crud's concept for another regional group could actually exist. A briefing paper distributed last week at a meeting of ambassadors says Australia has found that there is little appetite for creating new institutions in addition to existing forums, such as the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the Asia-Pacific Economic Community. The paper was written by a veteran diplomat by the name of Richard Woolcott, who Mr. Crud commissioned to lobby regional leaders about the proposal. He told Canberra last week that the proposal for an entirely new institution with a leaders' summit has been seen as unwelcome by other countries in the region, which is a very good thing. Mr. Crud, of course, floated the idea last year for a new Asia-Pacific Union, similar to the European Union, and stated that he would like to see it in place by 2020. But it would appear that he will need to pull back from proposing a new institution in favour of trying to expand an existing forum. Mr. Crud also left for the East Asia Summit in Thailand last Monday, where he is still trying to push forth this Asian Union. This clearly demonstrates where Mr. Crud's allegiances actually lie, and it very much suggests that these allegiances lie with the international bankster community rather than with the people of his nation. But this is, of course, what we expect from all of our leaders these days. None of them serve the people, and they all seem to serve international banks and the enslavement of their populations via a corrupt and privately run monetary system. All of these proposals, the main design of them is to impose a central bank upon all countries that don't have a central bank, because the money system is what is used to control the populations. Now, what the architects of the New World Order are actually trying to achieve with all of these actions that they're doing, putting these central banks in all of these countries, and all the things they're doing, creating the Asian Union, the European Union, the North American Union, what it's all about is the centralization of power. I mean, there are a lot of people who are telling you what's going on with this centralization of power, and that's what it's all about. That's absolutely what it's all about, and they're very clever in the way they package this to people, because they do it with really attractive labels such as saving the world, creating human unity, all sorts of things like this. And these things are great. I mean, we absolutely need to put environmental measures in place to protect the environment. We need to start trying to break down the barriers between people of different races in order to create a human unity. But we don't need it done in the way that it's being proposed by our leaders. And if you really want to look at this and figure out how to see that what they are doing may look attractive, but ultimately it isn't, the basis to understanding the whole thing is to understand that it's being put forth, this whole plan for a global family, in inverted commas, is being put forth as something that is controlled by a central banking system. Now look at the damage that's been done to the world through corporate abuse of power. Look at the way that all of our nations have been enslaved to debt through the manipulation of a corporate controlled and privately run monetary system. And you begin to see the dangers of what these people are trying to put into place. What we will see through this whole New World Order they're constructing is the entire globe will simply be one corporation, and we will be simply consumers in that corporation. The job of this corporation will be to exploit all of the planet's resources until there's virtually none left. It will be to reduce the population to a usable amount, because obviously you only need enough people to help the corporation function. Everybody else is basically, well, it's not good profit, is it? You know, and when you look at a corporation, the way a corporation is constructed, corporations are constructed to put profit, the bottom line, profit, above all other considerations. That is the main purpose of a corporation, is to generate profit. So this puts human beings way down the list. When you look at a corporate-controlled government, a corporate-controlled monetary system, New World Order, the one human family, the one global government and global currency that these people are attempting to present and package and deliver to the world, you see that human beings are way down on the list. They only need enough human beings to consume to make them enough profit in order to exploit what's left of the Earth's resources. This will just keep going until there are no resources left on the planet, and it will be packaged to the people with the attractive title of environmentalism and human unity. That's what they're trying to do with this New World Order. So that's a simple way of looking at it, and that's a simple way of understanding it. Just look at the countries. Look what's happened all around the world to every country that has had a corporation go in there and exploit it. Look at the damage that's been done by companies such as Exxon. You name it, all of them. Every single corporation that exists on this planet puts profits before people. That's the way they're designed. There's an excellent documentary, actually, you could probably find on Google Video, you could probably find it on YouTube. It's simply called The Corporation. And this explains very, very well how corporations function. Each corporation is actually designed as a person within society. But if you analyse this person, you find that this person is a psychopath that will eat up everything around it. It's a psychopath and a sociopath. That's the basic way corporations are designed. And so we are allowing a sociopathic society to be created for ourselves by complying with this system that they've got in place. It's so important for people to look at how this system functions, because all of the attractive parts of what they're offering us, all the ideas of human unity, the ideas of even global governance, I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it needs to be done with humanitarianism at the top of the list. Sure, we don't want to exploit animals and exploit the environment and drain the Earth's resources, but if we had a humanitarian-based society where people were simply doing what was right and were being open and honest with each other, then we wouldn't be exploiting the planet the way we are. Because we have an abundant amount of energy on this planet, we have an abundant amount of resources on this planet, and the planet can even support a lot more people than it has. If we were simply allowed to continue along as human beings and have access to all the technology that's been withheld from us, then, I mean, we probably would have colonized the other planets by now anyway.